The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
But you are not a Jedi yet.
Hello everyone and welcome to Kyber Chronicles. I'm Jay and welcome to another video. In just over 2 weeks as of recording this video, the new Star Wars show The Acolyte is going to arrive, and there has been a lot of speculation about the show's story, characters and expansion of the Star Wars universe. However, the recent trailer for The Acolyte has raised a few more questions and theories, and one question that has got many fans talking is, who is the mysterious masked Darksider seen wielding a red lightsaber at the end of the trailer? There have been many theories about who or what this character is. The two most popular theories right now are, is it a Sith Lord or a Knight of Ren? For me, both are equally interesting, and both raise interesting questions about the show's possible direction. So for today's video, I'm going to explore both possibilities, and at the end of the video give my opinion on who this mystery villain could be. Okay. So let's start with, is this character a Sith? There is actually some evidence supporting the idea that this mysterious villain might be a Sith, or at least connected to them. The first clue is in the naming of the show itself, The Acolyte. Naming the show The Acolyte is an interesting choice because the term has appeared many times in both canon and legends in connection to the Sith. Asajj Ventress and Savage Opress were both known as Dark Acolyte or Sith Acolyte during the Clone Wars era. While not being a Sith apprentice like Darth Maul and Count Dooku, or a Sith Lord like Darth Sidious, they were both very powerful and considered extremely dangerous. What's interesting to note about the Dark Acolyte title is that it seems to allow the exemption of the Sith's rule of two, where it is stated there can only be two Sith at any given moment, a master and an apprentice. This seems to suggest that having an acolyte is not considered a breaking of this rule, as Count Dooku was able to have multiple acolytes under his tutelage. So how does this connect to the Darksider seen in the trailer? My theory is this character could be a Sith acolyte and not a Sith Lord or Sith apprentice. This would make sense because one of the main concerns people have expressed is if this is a Sith, could it break the continuity of the prequels? As we know, Palpatine / Darth Sidious was trained by Darth Plagueis, and he was trained by Darth Tenebrous. So if another Sith is showing up 100 years before Sidious, during the High Republic era, that could cause a contradiction, unless this Darksider may in fact be just a Sith Acolyte or a Dark Acolyte. Also, an interesting theory is if Darth Plagueis or Darth Tenebrous is being brought into the story, are they using an Acolyte in the same way Count Dooku did, as a way to possibly distract the Jedi to prevent them discovering their presence and interfering with their true goals? This also might suggest why the Jedi Council believe the Sith to still be extinct in The Phantom Menace, because the character the Jedi faced in The Acolyte was not actually a full Sith Lord, but merely an Acolyte acting alone. Also at the time the story The Acolyte is set, the Jedi are beginning to become full of hubris and overconfidence, so it makes sense that they would be very pedantic about this type of detail, and it has been stated by Leslie Headland in an interview with Empire Magazine that she was very interested in exploring how the Jedi get to where they are in The Phantom Menace. This matches the ideas the trailers have seemingly been portraying, that an Acolyte and not a fully fledged Sith would allow the Jedi to overlook the presence of the Sith and therefore ignore or cover up events that would foreshadow the events to come in the prequel era. Okay, so we've spent a bit of time looking into whether the Darksider is a Sith or not. However, let's delve into the other theory, that is this character maybe a Knight of Ren. Surprisingly, when looking into this theory, there is a lot of information that suggests this character may actually have a connection to the Knights of Ren. The Knights of Ren were a group of dark side marauders that dwelled within the unknown regions of the galaxy. It is not known the exact length of time they had existed for or when the group was formed, but it is believed that the Knights of Ren had existed for centuries before the formation of the New Republic in 4 ABY. It seems this group was also known by Emperor Palpatine himself during the Imperial era. He stated that those who dwell in the unknown regions have long whispered legends of the Knights of Ren. This band of marauders was said to have burned their way across worlds, consuming everything in their path. In recent years, an enclave of warriors stepped from the darkness to claim that name and the fear it instilled. This statement seems to suggest that the Knights of Ren were once a deadly group that vanished, and a new group rose to power and used the name for their own agenda. The confirmation also that the Knights of Ren had existed centuries before the New Republic fits really well with the theory that they could have existed during the High Republic era, and therefore slot into the time frame the Acolyte is set in. Also, an interesting thing I noticed in the second trailer that was dropped for the Acolyte is there seems to be a great amount of similarity between the costume design of the Darksider and the Acolyte and the costume design of the Knights of Ren. The Knights of Ren philosophy is intrinsically tied to their choice of attire. The Knights of Ren wear masks to hide their faces, which creates an air of mystery, and to strike fear and intimidation into their enemies. They also styled their costumes based on their own individual beliefs. This could tie the Acolyte Darksider to the Knights of Ren, as they too are seen wearing a mask that is designed in a way that resembles a sinister toothy grin. This design seems deliberate, as a way of causing fear and intimidation. Also, it is worth noting that the Sith, while sometimes seen wearing masks or helmets, most Sith do not use this tactic. Darth Sidious, Darth Maul and Count Dooku never chose to wear a mask to cause intimidation or fear, since the Sith believe that dominating their enemies with their destructive power in the dark side of the Force and overwhelming them with their devastating skill with a lightsaber. Another interesting hint that could further strengthen this theory is the possible connection between the character May, who also appears in the trailer as an assassin, and the masked Darksider. The Knights of Ren have a single leader who wields a red lightsaber in the comics, and the rest use weapons of their choice. What is interesting is I noticed that during the trailer, May is seen using a dagger and not a red lightsaber to attack Jedi. There is a moment in the trailer where you see a mysterious person stood on a cliff, and later May can be seen facing this person as she's looking to the back of them on the cliff. Later the trailer shows the masked Darksider in the forest who faces the Jedi and throws the red lightsaber, and there is a moment where it is seemingly caught by someone. My theory is that May is possibly in league with this Darksider and catches that red lightsaber. The similarity between the Knights of Ren is very convincing. However, there is one more final detail that strengthens the evidence that suggests the Darksider in the Acolyte is a Knight of Ren. In the latest trailer of the Acolyte, we get a quick up-close look at the mask of the Darksider, and if you look closely at the mask, you can see some cracks on the mask and some red lines, which look similar to Kylo Ren's cracked mask that was repaired in The Rise of Skywalker after Kylo had shattered it in The Last Jedi. The method used in The Rise of Skywalker to repair Kylo's helmet was inspired by a Japanese method of repairing pottery called kintsukuri or kintsugi, which translates to golden repair or golden joinery. The method involves using gold, silver or platinum to repair broken pottery. This not only repairs the broken object but also increases its value, while also signifying the importance of its journey, going from intact to repaired. It is also worth pointing out that in The Rise of Skywalker, when Kylo Ren is getting his helmet repaired, this takes place with the Knights of Ren present, as if it is a ritual or rites of passage. This makes sense when you understand the amount of tradition and ritual the Knights of Ren have, such as they call the dark side the Shadow, the red blade of the lightsaber they call the Ren, and they follow the will of the Ren. The leader of the Knights of Ren take on the name Ren and can only become the leader by killing the previous leader. The Knights of Ren are steeped in tradition that is passed down, so it seems possible this Darksider's mask, style, tactics and attire fit with the Knights of Ren. I find this connection very interesting since there is so much tradition and symbology tied to the Knights of Ren. It seems very possible that the mysterious villain is or has some connection to the Knights of Ren. Okay, so that covers the theories on if the mysterious Darksider is a Sith or a Knight of Ren. Personally, based on what I've researched, the era the show is based on, and Leslie Headland's comments, and her own interest into the prequel era, it is more likely to be a Sith Acolyte. But it would be really cool and interesting if it was instead a Knight of Ren, since I've always thought they were really interesting when first introduced into the sequel trilogy, and having been really well explored in the recent Star Wars comics. Either way, I'm excited for the show, and whatever the reveal is, I'm sure it'll be really interesting. What are your thoughts on this? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and share any theories you have. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoy making speculation and theory videos, and I'll definitely be doing more in the future. I'm also very excited to watch The Acolyte, and I'll definitely be covering my thoughts on the newest episodes every week when they drop. Also, if there is anything you would like to see me cover in the future, review another Star Wars show, or have any fun suggestions for theories you'd like me to cover, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you.
I'll show you the dark side.